All right, we're back here at the Unrestrained Podcast here at the School of Hard Knocks. We keep changing the name, right? School of Hard Knocks over here. So, yeah, man, it's Tuesday here. It's been another week and a lot going on. Here we go. We got Alfred here in the house. Go ahead, Alfred. Say hi to the people.
What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday.
Yep.
And whatever day you watch at this our podcast, man, we want to thank you for continuing to stay faithful. Bro, we just reached 45 subscribers on YouTube, bro.
Oh, we got 45?
45.
So if every subscriber shared this, does that mean we double it? No, huh? Because everybody just share. Just help us get to like 90.
Yeah.
Let's get to 90. But it's all good, man. It's fun times. Actually, it's interesting because I have some coworkers that are subscribing, and I forget. There's also I was just thinking of my sister, my little sister, I guess. Shout out to my little sister. I guess she watches this in the morning. So one time I called her, it was like early. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm watching your podcast. So she watches it with my nieces, which is pretty cute, but which is cool. It's cool. I wonder if it's strange for them.
Well, why do you think why do you think it's strange? Is it because I know you one time you mentioned that they're not into politics, right?
No, so interesting. My little sister. I'm pretty sure she can comment if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure she voted for Obama both times.
Oh boy.
I'm pretty sure she did not vote for Trump the first time. But yeah, she's definitely seen the light. Really what it is. I don't think she's just one of those. What did I call them? Layman's in the past, right?
Independent, right?
Yeah, independent. She just has her kids. She's young. She was married at the time. And like a lot of people, just busy. And I know for sure one of her main news sources was NPR.
Wow.
So I remember I'd go over to her house, and you hear NPR on the back, and you're just like, man, that's government funded propaganda, right? So.
Oh man.
Yeah. So it's. Like most people that are laymen's, they have no idea how bad it is, right? They live in this world where they don't realize really what's going on and how evil people are, and the fact that our institutions are corrupt, the people that are representing us are corrupt. We'd like to think that everybody's, nice and that has good intentions, but unfortunately that's not the reality. So when you're in the matrix, right, like I would say, she was living in the matrix, and now she's no longer in the matrix. So I'm not really sure. Well, I would say this. I know she was saved. She became a Christian. She was in Catholicism, and that kind of seems to that kind of seems to coincide with people starting to look at the world in a different view,
right?
And you start to kind of notice evil, or I would say, just bad things a lot easier, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'd have to ask her. I never really asked her, like, politically. Actually, what it was, I think she started dating a guy that's a conservative. Although her ex-husband was too, but he's a crazy nut job. I don't want to get too far into that, but the guy is a lunatic. In every sense of the world, there might be a movie out of the craziness. This
nefarious.
Hey man, yeah, we won't get into that. But let me just tell you that it is the most craziest. My little younger sister's divorce is probably one of the worst things you could ever imagine. I mean, there's worse things, but it's pretty bad.
Right.
And he's just a lunatic. But went down that rabbit hole. But she started dating a guy, and he's conservative. Now, he's a nice guy, and I guess he got through to her. You know what I mean? Is what I would say. Maybe because he's not crazy, and because it's easier for it. He's probably presented arguments in a way that she can accept it. Right.
Right.
And so now she listens, and interesting because she's in the school system, And, she tells me about how gnarly some of the, the indoctrinations that she's seeing, right? She's just like, it's just horrified over it. So, she's in the school system. I don't want to really say exactly because, I don't want to get her in trouble.
Of course.
And then my older sister is also in the school system. Public education is her job. And, it's pretty radical, the stuff that's going on,
So I mean, a good question. The thing is, I know, and I know your sister's like, now why is this? Why did it turn into my? Well,
how do we get here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do we get here, and how to get myself? No. For the most part, I think we're running into people that are actually going into and they're actually experiencing the same thing as your sister is. You know what I mean? Like, for example. She probably never, just because of the new husband.
Yeah.
And now the ideas are flowing, right? And now these ideas are bringing in some common sense, right?
Yeah.
Common sense ideas. I think.
Yeah.
I speak to people that are in the education system myself.
Yeah.
And for a lot of them, they're like, it's kind of like the neutral zone, right? The safe zone, right? They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to get too political, but in the same sense. They're seeing things that are actually not right. They don't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, for example, teaching kids 150 some genders, right?
Yeah.
And even though some teachers are not doing it, right? Or they're doing their own way. Well, there's implementation factors, and now it's going into where they have a BLM task force. And I know we're jumping into another rabbit hole with the education system.
Yeah.
But they're the first line of defense. They're seeing these things, not because they see, the unions. They're seeing all these things that are playing out, and it's being presented to them, right? Like vote Biden, like do this and do that more, frankly, than us, right?
Yeah, I'll give you an example, man. I have to be vague, right? Because I don't want to get my sister in trouble. So hopefully you guys kind of read between the lines here, but. One of my sisters, she's in a pretty a position of authority, right? Over a particular school,
right?
And I don't know if you remember. Put it this way: at the high school, I was at the school district because the high school, our local high school. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm actually doing adjustments as you're talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're at the local high school. They were, and you're familiar with this, Alfred, when they're passing the, what do they call it? Really what the clinics in the schools
for the wellness center, right?
The wellness centers, right?
Yeah.
So I went down there to the school district to the school board meeting, and actually that's what some of the Lexit people were there. I met some people there,
right?
And we, we were there to speak against the wellness center being open, right? Just to speak our voice. And apparently, well, what's interesting is that some of the moms that were there, they know my sister because of where she's at. She's known, and they found out I'm her brother, right? And so they were kind of tripping out about that because I'm over there, and they're like, oh, you're her brother.
Yeah.
And then I'm worried because I'm like, oh man, I just spoke. I didn't think about it at the time because I actually did speak in front of the school board. And after I spoke, I mean, a lot of people were coming up to me and were just like, oh, just tell them, just thanking me. And because really, I don't know if I talked about this one of the, but one of the things that I noticed that day was that most of the people there were moms. And I was probably one of a handful of males that was there to speak against this wellness center being opened.
Right.
And I thought that was interesting because that's kind of part of the problem, right? Is that, we're as men, we're not protecting our children, but the moms were there, and these moms, most of these moms were all Latinas,
right.
Some of these women didn't even speak English. You know what I mean? Obviously English wasn't their first language. Man, it sounds weird, Alfred. I don't know what's going on, but do I sound all right?
You sound great.
Okay, I think it's your end.
Did you do that on purpose? I just turned it down because I'm sitting right next to the vent.
Okay.
And so if if I don't turn it down, you're gonna hear the vents. Go for it. Go for
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that.
No,
people.
no worries.
So Alfred's sitting next to the AC guy, so that's why you guys hear it. But I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. So
you hear it. So once he hear himself, and
but we're
I
leaving it on, bro, because it'll get too hot. In here,
yeah,
you know? So
exactly.
you guys will have to deal with it, you know. But back to the story.
Yeah.
Is that oh golly, where was I going with that? Okay, yeah. So after this event, this whole thing that happened. Well, so now I'm kind of worried, right? Because, you know, people are recognizing that, you know, are asking me, and they're figuring out that I'm her brother. And then I'm kind of worried because I'm like, oh man, am I going to get her in trouble? Like, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Is this going to come back to her? So, I go back and I'm telling my sister about it, and I'm like, hey, just, you know, I'm talking to her, kind of telling her what's going on. The next day she tells me that, you know, some of the moms were like, oh, you know, we saw your brother over there. And they were all excited. But then she tells me this story about, I guess there was, I wasn't there for it, but there was a teacher who was there actually. And that teacher spoke up against the wellness center. Right. And this teacher currently works for the district.
Right.
And my sister was telling me that the principal of the school that this teacher works for, because they had a meeting after with the school, I guess he'd be the director, whatever the position is of the main school district guy, right? I don't know what it is at the time, but the big cheese, right?
Yep.
The big cheese had a meeting with all the principals and the head, you know, higher ups in those positions. I'm being vague, guys. Okay, to let them know, you know, it wasn't going to be tolerated,
right?
You know, and that principal that oversees that particular teacher was told that they needed to handle it. They needed to handle that guy. You know what I mean? And that's crazy because that's the stuff you read about it on the news. You see videos, right?
Right.
On YouTube of people parents going to the school boards and speaking. And so for me to like firsthand, you know, listen from a very reliable source, which is my own family member, overhearing these, you know, and being a part of these conversations, man, it's real, guys. What would you say? Not the oppression, but the control that the left has on the narratives. They don't tolerate. Now you did lose me. Sorry.
No, go
yeah,
ahead.
they don't tolerate opposition, right? So if you're a teacher, you're conservative, that's not acceptable.
Right.
So
See that what you're mentioning, I think it's overall, and this is what we call the sleeper cells, right? These are people that are in the system, right?
Yeah.
And they have, you know, like for example, she has some sort of power or what to say.
Yeah.
In a sense where decisions are made, but these are the deal breakers. These are the ones that can make, you know, that could bring back that common sense. You know what I mean? Like they can speak out and say, no, we're gonna sit tight. And we're going to focus on what's right. Let's focus on education. Let's not focus on the cultural, political, right? Because there is a lot of principals out there and teachers that have this tremendous influence over their whole school and even their whole team or the whole teacher group.
Right.
You know what I mean? And these are the ones that we call out, and we're not calling out, but we're saying, hey, at one point or another, they need to stand up for what's right. You know, and this is what's right. It's like, hey, I'm not telling you come become a Trump, you know, supporter, right? I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, don't worry about Trump, don't worry about the politics.
Yeah.
Let's worry about common sense policies that are gonna help revive, restore certain things that are happening in the education system.
Yeah. No, and the reality is, Alfred, like I've had these conversations with my sister about, you know, obviously we have the same values. We were brought up the same. So knowing kind of the things that are going on and some of the positions that she's being put in, you know, at what point do you sacrifice your job for what's right?
Exactly.
You know, I just, sometimes I wonder, I don't want to kind of single her out, but I mean, there's lots of people that are in that position that I wonder how serious I just wonder how naive they are about what the reality is. Do they really understand that the path that we're on? It seems to me like there already is situations where they're being asked to do things that they're compromising their values, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And so where's that line? And if you're a teacher out there, unfortunately, there's going to come a point, the way things are going, there's going to come a point where you're going to have to decide, are you going to protect your job or stand up for what's right? Right. Or you could put it a different way. Are you going to protect the children? Right. Or are you going to keep your job? You know, and it sucks, man. It sucks that they're in that position. You know, it's, you know, I have a younger daughter that, you know, she's in school, she'll be graduating, and for a little while she was thinking about being a teacher, and I'm kind of thankful that she's kind of changed her mind because, you know, the way things are going, you know, I don't want her to be a part of the system, right?
Right.
A useful idiot, if you will.
Well, in a sense, and see that's what
it sounds bad, but right.
But tell me, that's one of the things that, hey, we've been pushing here. We've been saying, hey, come on now, regardless, you know, it all comes down like what you mentioned. You said, hey, do we jeopardize who we are? Do we jeopardize, you know, exactly what we can bring in to restore certain things? Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that we need, bro. I'm telling you, there's a silent majority of teachers, 70 or 80%, right, that have been in teaching for about 30 to 40 years. And this stuff right here, they're kind of oblivion to it. I mean, they're kind of shocked that it's happening, first of all. Yeah. And that's number one. Number two is they understand that a lot of this stuff is coming from the union. You know what I mean? And union and school districts. So, you know, at the end of the day, like you said, how far are we going to stand, you know, for common sense policies, or stand firm for what's right for the children? You know what I mean?
Yeah. When are you gonna decide that you don't want to be a part of indoctrinating children to question their sexuality or cut off their penises, or that there's multiple genders, just as examples, right? Or, I mean, just think of any gnarly thing that's going on in school. You know, abortion and murdering their children is just normal, right? When you know, if you're a teacher or somebody who's working in the school system, and that's against your values, where do you draw the line? And, you know, I understand. Look, I don't want to be in that position myself. So with that said, it's you know, people make their decisions. You know, it's hard for me to expect people to do what some of us might think would be the right thing. At the end of the day, it's tough because, you know, you got to take care of your family, you got to eat, and you got to have a roof over your head. But, you know, at the same time, you know, if you look back to other historical events where people could have maybe, you know, had the courage to be willing to lose their jobs and their livelihood, and it probably would have prevented a lot of things, like, say, the Holocaust, for example, right? Then you know, we criticize those people, you know,
and that's a good point. I mean, think about it. I mean, yeah, I mean, not to hit a dead horse, but at the end of the day, think about it. A lot of look at what happened to rabbis at that particular situation, man. They were there. They knew they had an opportunity to stand firm, right? When there was many, and what happened? They didn't. Yeah. And they ended up just saying, well, we're going to leave it to God. We're going to just, God knows best, right? Yeah, man. And then 2 million, 2, 3, 4 million people just perished. Is that something that, I mean, think about it now. Perfect example now. Look at the code. Look at what we experienced with COVID. The church, what happened? It was non-essential. Right. You know, the bars were open. The places where you can buy weed was open. You know, places where you can go and you know, even the nudie bars were open. You know what I mean? They were considered essential. Were they? Bro. Yeah, yeah, they were. Yeah. And see, so then you had, you know, think about it. Costco was open. You know, Amazon. You know, all these big corporations that had a big deal, a big say on our economy. They kept open. But guess what? Churches were not essential, and they
Right.
closed, and they even came after them, bro. You saw here in California multiple, Pastor MacArthur, right, and Jack Hibbs, right?
Yeah.
They stay open, they never closed. But at the end of the day, bro, that's one of the things. What do we do? I mean, we're called to stand firm, to stand fast.
Yeah.
And and if this is the point where we say government should not be involved with church affairs, why did the church allow it? You know what I mean? Like that, I'm sorry for me, but I could say we're cowards, we were cowards. I'll say this because in the end of the day, our pastors decided, let's play it safe. And let's trust the science, right? And look at what we're going to talk about, trusting the science.
Yeah, we're going to get into that, man. So, but sorry, Alfred. We'll get into that. But yeah, man, first thing we're going to bring up here, totally not even related, is we're beating on the border, man. So Sleepy Joe, looks like he passed the executive order,
right?
An immigration policy to limit asylum seekers face. So he's looking to limit asylum seekers. So the Texas Tribune has an article on this, and I got one. I think Alfred has one that we were looking at a little bit differently, but looks like Texas isn't happy about it, and kind of odd because I mean I get obviously the timing, right? But I'll read a little bit of this article here. So, new plan for President Joe Biden to temporarily stop granting asylum to migrants of illegal crossings past a certain threshold was met Tuesday with condemnation in Texas from elected officials of both parties, while concerns spread among groups that advocate for migrant rights about immediate danger it will present to an already vulnerable population. So I'm going to stop right there because
Golly, man.
So obviously here, Sleepy Joe is getting it from both sides, right? Because the left's probably not happy about it.
Of course not.
Right? And the right's not happy about it, which I guess hopefully we'll read more into this to find out what the right's problem with it is. I mean, what's Texas' problem with it? Why would they should be happy, I guess, right? But
weren't they the ones putting out the barbed wire? I mean,
yeah, I mean, the only thing I can tell, and I guess we'll read a little bit further down and we'll get into it. Maybe it's a case of it's not good enough, but maybe it doesn't go far enough, right? It's probably the criticism is that, but vulnerable population, man, aren't they vulnerable by crossing rivers and being raped by crazy rapists on their way to the border? When we talk about, I forgot what the statistics is.
It was like 9,000. I think at one point it was the first year. There was a lot of criminals. Well, actually up to 9,000 incidents that occurred in the border in this first year of President Biden, that people were either abducted, sexually molested, or some sort of violence in the border itself.
Yeah. So doesn't that put them in a vulnerable position by crossing the borders and not having a closed border?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird, right? So the article goes on to say the proclamation signed on Tuesday, which I guess was today, because this article came out today. Biden will largely suspend entry of non-citizens into the country beginning at 12:01 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So tomorrow. So that's 12:01 tonight, right? Eastern Wednesday, according to the order. Exceptions include permanent U.S. residents and unaccompanied children, which is interesting, Alfred. Right? You see where I'm going with that?
Exactly. I mean, not to take in consideration, bro. Already the 12 million people that have crossed in the last 3 years or 4 years of his reign. You know what I mean? So think about it. Bro, this is just, to me, it's, we're 5 months into this whole thing. Things are not looking good for the camp at Joe Biden.
Yeah.
A Snoopy camp. It's not looking good. It's looking horrible. In fact, just recently there was a poll.
Yeah.
Well, actually some good percentages. The black community, bro, are swaying out to Trump, brother.
Oh,
hardcore.
man.
They're hardcore. And think about it. At one point or another, in 2016, the black community was at 8%. Okay? So now they're at 15%. So are they going to cause an impact?
Oh yeah, man.
Think about that.
So I know that people there's been a lot of talk about the UFC fight. Trump went over to the UFC fight, right? Yeah. And man, this was it in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Is that where the fight was?
In the blue state, bro.
Yeah.
Not only was Trump just there roughly about a couple weeks ago. Think about it. That one event over in New Jersey, close to the border of New Jersey and Virginia, I think. But no, I'm sorry, New York. Mm-hmm. And so they're in the outskirts, bro. And they got jam-packed. I mean, up to 80,000, 80, was it 80,000 people?
At the fight?
No, at the actual rally, the first rally.
But you're talking about the rally,
yeah. But at the fight, there was a lot of folks in there. And
what's crazy though is how things have changed, right? In the last three years, or 4 years, let's say, where you would never have people walk up to Trump and praise him and love up on him. You had, I guess, 2 of the UFC fighters jumped over it after they won and shook his hand, right? Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, I understand. He's always been popular in the UFC, And the thing that the left probably hates so much is that all the cool people like Trump.
Yeah.
That's true. Like the tough guys, UFC fighters, athletes.
The bad boys.
Tyson loves Trump.
Yeah.
And it just destroys their narratives, right? And they just can't have it.
Of course not.
I heard they straight up lied about one of the fighters, I guess straight up ignoring him. And I guess that fighter put up a post on his X page. I don't know if it was on X or one of his social media platforms. He responded by posting a video of him actually shaking Trump's hand after the media put out that when Trump went by him, I guess he ignored him, but it was a lie, right? And when you watch the video of Trump walking in, I mean, it's dude, I wonder what it's like to be Trump, man. When you walk into something like that, because you're like the man. You're like the alpha among alphas.
That's right.
Think about that, right? When you really think about it, you're walking into an arena where you have like Dana White, man. Dana White's an alpha.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's right.
You have all these fighters that are obviously, you're not a UFC alpha, you're not an MMA fighter and you're not an alpha male, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But when Trump's in the room, he's like the alpha in the room, and he's like the alpha in the arena. You know what I mean? And man, that drives the left nuts.
It's wild, bro. See, the thing is this. The reason why is because they cannot continue to spin off their narrative, bro. That he's a convicted felon, right?
Yeah.
Right now, think about it. Their narrative is they want to see this guy, right? Orange man in an orange suit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so for the last 7 years, since 2016, they've been after him. And this is what they plan to do. Think about it. They've already given the whole nation, they pretty much threw, not only are they throwing the education system to the window, corporations to the window, and a lot of the corporations are waking up, right? Immediately right after that conviction, what happened? Some of the mega donors gave out $300,000 for. He made a killing just within the first day. He made like $52 million. This was on a report done by CNN, bro. Right. Come on, And when you start looking at this, the fundraising opportunities, he takes advantage, bro. One of the things that the left does not understand, bro, is how smart and intelligent this guy is when it comes down to, all right, you're gonna shine me bad light, or here I'm gonna take advantage, and I'm gonna take advantage of the bad light and make it into something good, right? And that's why what you're seeing is Trump marketing. This is why he's been so successful since the 1980s. Not only with what he does with Trump Towers and as a businessman, but think about it, bro. He takes advantage, and they can't hold him down.
Yeah, interesting, man. But going back a little bit to this article, I just find it interesting that unaccompanied children are exempt. You can make the argument that if they're unaccompanied, you can't just leave them out there. I would also say, knowing that human trafficking is pretty prevalent and the human traffickers are benefiting from this, knowing that Sleepy Joe himself is some crazy psychopedophile, I think there's enough evidence to support the highly likelihood that he is a pervert child molester himself, would then leave it still not interrupt that, right? That trafficking of children into the country. So that's one of the exceptions that were made here. So the kids will still be trafficked, guys. So article go on to say the limitations are to be discontinued 2 weeks after there has been an average of less than 1,500 migrants encounters between official ports of entry for 7 consecutive days, right? So 1,500 migrants encounters within 7 days straight. That's got to be the average, and it'll be discontinued once that threshold has been met, according to the article. The restrictions would resume when there has been an average of 2,500 encounters or more over 7 consecutive days, right? Which is interesting because why can't you just make it like 0?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And because he goes on to say, Biden said he did what I can on my own to address the border because Republicans in Congress failed to take up bipartisan border security deal brokered in the Senate earlier this year. So now he's blaming the bill that wasn't passed, right? That fell apart. But the thing is, it doesn't make any logical sense because he's proving that he can do it by executive order. So how does the fact that bill did not pass limit the parameters that he's put out here? Like why is it stopping him? He's the one putting the stipulations like, well, if it's over 2,500, we'll go ahead and shut the border down again. But we're okay with 1,500 migrant encounters, on average. We're good with that. How about 0 encounters?
Not only that, bro. How come limit to the children?
Right. Why are we limiting that?
Or even that people? What is it called? What is the other one that you mentioned?
Oh, it's limiting. It's children, and the exceptions are for permanent U.S. residents.
Right.
But why would a permanent U.S. resident be crossing the border illegally?
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, I'm telling you.
You know what I'm saying?
Like that's one of the things that you got to pay attention when these people start spinning things like that, man. Right. They're so crafty and they're so smart. Like just to think about this, bro. In their mind, they're already thinking of plan blah blah blah. While we have our GOP, low T GOP, still continuing with all these investigations, while Donald Trump is getting pretty much pummeled and potentially being arrested for 4 years, right? But possibly going to jail, right? And governing through the jail for the next 4 years. Our low T GOP are over here continuing to spin off investigations after just pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look at what's going on. Hey, look at what's going on. And at the end of the day, bro, the point that I'm trying to make is this is exactly what they've done for the last 4 years. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here you were in the beginning 2 years of Trump's reign, right? Where they did exactly nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just attack him, Russia collusion, investigation after investigation. And he was trying, and throughout it all, bro, Trump was able to get us energy, the independent, right? We were able to handle that. We're the #1 economy, low unemployment rate, right?
Right.
And all these things for all minorities. And at the same time, all our marketing, everything was good. Our GDP was great, right?
Right.
And we weren't having any issues. But look at now. Look at now. We're in full control of a dictator who's doing everything by executive order. You know what I mean? Like we have Congress. Who gives a damn about Congress when they don't believe in the rule of law? You know what I mean? Especially when you use lawfare to attack your own opponent and try to put them on jail. Yeah. You know what I mean? And here we are trying to gather what's going on here. Let's trust the system, bro. The only people that can't trust the system is them. They don't trust the system. They don't really care about the system. Actually, they use it to go after their opponents. And that's sad. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is exactly what's going on. And so for him to continue to use executive after executive order, think about it. Not only in this first day, I don't know if you remember, he was on video, on camera, on through everybody, MSNBC, on all the channels, and he had a stack of executive orders like this, piled up in the desk.
Yeah.
Signing them, executing them, right?
Yeah.
2021, you know, he comes into the media, and he's glowing, talking about how he was going to destroy Trump's era of the border, right? His policies.
Right.
2021, he did it, and now this is why we have all this stuff, because him and his goon, right, Mayorgas, they started rescinding all these policies, moving them away, because they don't like Trump, right? And that's why we're in this predicament. But this is all, I'm telling you, these people, it's all with the purpose. You know what I mean? It's all with the purpose.
Yeah, I mean, the timing of this, I think the debate's like in 3 weeks. So, with Sleepy Joe and Trump. So obviously, this serves a couple purposes. It's obviously political, right? Because it's not like he could have done this, 3 years ago.
Right.
And so now, coming up 3 weeks into debate, I mean, by doing this now, it's harder for, when Trump brings it up, then he can always respond by saying that he just, passed this policy, restricting the border. So that'll be his response to that. And also probably getting a lot of pressure from, other Democrats that are like New York and Chicago, that they're just, they're losing their minds because they can no longer sustain, taking care of all these illegal immigrants that are coming in and being sent into their state, right? Mm-hmm. So that, kind of helps him there too, to kind of try to get some support coming in. But, it's not going to work. It's not going to matter, But, I just ran across this too, Alfred. Side note, I happened to see this and I couldn't help myself. So on the New York Post. Mm-hmm. New York Post here says New Jersey Dems elect dead Rep Donald Payne Jr. in House primary. Right? So I'm like, what the heck is this? So it goes on to say Democratic voters picked a much beloved congressman from New Jersey in their primary on Tuesday, but there's only one problem. He's dead. Rep Donald Payne Johnson had held his seat in the Garden State 10th Congressional District for more than a decade and is running unopposed in the Democratic primary. Well, I guess that makes sense. He was unopposed. What else were they supposed to do?
Dude, the guy's dead. Didn't the voters know that the guy's no longer here? How ignorant can you be?
To be fair, I mean, he was running unopposed, and it's a primary.
Yeah, but he's dead.
I know, bro, but what are you supposed to do, though? He's the only one on the ballot, right?
I mean, come on now. How ignorant can people? How ignorant is the voting? And I mean, what is it called? The voter register, right?
Yeah.
How dumb can they? Why did you put him in there to begin with? The guy's dead. There's a death certificate, right?
Yeah.
Maybe call me ignorant, right? Call me ignorant, but okay, he wins. Are you going to bring him out of the coffin so he can continue to rule, or what?
Well, it says 65-year-old member of Congressional Black Caucus died April 24th after a heart attack after the filing deadline, the primary had already passed. So then it goes on to say,
dude,
that because of this, New Jersey's election rules state no one can replace him on the ballot.
Wow.
So they had to leave him on there. You know what I mean? So that means that Payne is still set to win the primary in the urban deep blue districts that include Newark and other parts of Essex, Hudson, and Union counties. But Payne's looming victory won't be the end of the story. So I don't know. We won't keep reading on that, whatever. But, I guess, we have other examples. I mean, look, people voted for Sleepy Joe. I mean, the guy pretty much is a dead corpse.
Yeah. Facts.
And you still have, where's the polls at? I mean, I don't even know where he's polling at right now, but what is it? Last one I heard, and it's pretty old. I think he was like 45% or 40%. And it just makes you think, let's just say it's as low as 30.
Bro, he was at 33, 36.
Okay.
Right now, just because of, these little things. Bro, I'm telling you, his poll, I'll be honest with you. I don't believe in these dumb polls. I'll be honest with you. The reason why is because the guy does not talk. and his numbers go up. He doesn't say a word, and you know they just show him on camera, and he doesn't speak, and he goes up. He goes, dude, how ignorant are the polls, or how ignorant are the people that voted? 81 million, bro, 81 million voters. Can you imagine?
Well, let's just say though that the polls were accurate, and let's just give them 30%. It makes you, man, it's so discouraged that even 30% of the population doesn't see that he's basically a dead corpse. Like, the guy's not qualified for the job.
Well,
which reminds me, Alfred. So I was sorry, I got to tell this story. Yeah. So we were talking about how the tide has turned, right?
Sure.
So it's crazy because I was thinking about this the other day. Just on Wednesday, I took one of my somebody from work, which actually is probably going to listen to this podcast because I just found out.
What's up?
Yeah. Shout out Cameron. So we were at a lounge, a cigar lounge. Took him down there. He's in town. He flew in for work, and there's this African American male. Right, there are a lot of African Americans where I go hang out there, and overheard the guy on the phone. And it turns out we're like in the same industry, right? And so we got to talking. And what's crazy, he asked me because we're in transportation logistics. So he asked me, man, you know, he's telling me that he has like 33 pieces of equipment sitting with no work.
Wow.
Right, and that's crazy, man. So he asked me, like, what do you think it is? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's inflation, the economy, man. You know, and we get into this story where, you know, the guy pretty much brings up, like, yeah, you know, Sleepy Joe's destroying the country. And, you know, Donald Trump, we need Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And I'm just tripping out because how times have changed, right? We were just talking about him losing the black vote. I'm here in California, right? Blue state. Mm-hmm. In a liberal area.
Well, let me just remind you that, I mean, for the most part, L.A. and all the major cities like San Francisco, Sacramento, are all the hot spots for liberal. But if you look at the outskirts, Orange County, you know, a lot of the outskirts of the cities, they're all full blown conservative, red. You know what I mean? In fact, think about it. We initially, the conservatives here in California, were the ones who booted out Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, it's just the point. The thing that didn't dawn on me was that, you know, I remember I was talking about the podcast, one of our podcasts, how back in those times, Drudge, you know, was the only source, and how
that's true.
There wasn't a lot of people, and it was kind of lonely, and it's kind of crazy now looking around and how much conservative media is out there and how many like-minded people I've met. The fact that I'm here with you and others, you know, before it was very few and far between that I could find somebody that was like-minded and really understood what was going on. And now randomly I'm in this lounge, you know what I mean? And it's an African American, one of the last demographics you would think, right? You know, and I was thinking back of even, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you know, when Trump ran the first time, where I was currently working for, we handled the MAGA hats. They make them here they make them nearby here, a city called Cerritos, California. It's a company called Califame, right? And they make the hats. And so we were flying. You know, my company. We were flying these MAGA hats to Trump Tower, all the rallies, and I mean weekly, man. And so when you think about,
bro, you better get me one, bro.
Oh, I have. I mean, I have the OG one, and it's funny because the guy there that worked from Califame, you know, he actually sent me like every version of MAGA hats,
bro,
that they made, and what was crazy.
Those are collectibles, bro.
Oh, I know. I have the original one still. And so when he sent those to me, like they had like the camo one, like all the MAGA hats you can get, right? God. And it's crazy because in the office that I worked at, everybody was liberal, bro.
Oh man.
I mean, crazy, right? And they all knew. I mean, I'm not shy about being conservative, right? And so what was crazy was, you know, we're flying these MAGA hats. This is how I knew Trump was going to win because we you know, you think about in a 24 by 24 inch box. Mm-hmm. Okay. How many MAGA hats do you think you can fit inside of there? Nested. I mean, hundreds, right? and we're shipping boxes and boxes. We're flying these things out urgently, and so the point being is that the fact that we're shipping these and they're paying so much money to get them there is because the demand was there.
Of course,
people were buying these things up, right? And the point I want to make is that I used to take a train to go to work, and in that train there was a lot of African Americans in there, and I was always tempted to try to put on a MAGA hat on that train to see what would happen.
Wow,
you know what I mean? But I never did it. I got too scared to do it.
But you know what? But times have changed, bro.
Well, I was just gonna say
times have changed.
I would probably be okay with doing it now.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't be surprised if you walked in with the MAGA hat. You're probably getting people coming up to you like, high fiving, man.
Yeah, I think so. Especially now that we know that the black community have rappers. like black, like they have rappers that are out there.
Yeah.
The Latinos for Trump. You got Latinos that are rappers. You got white that are rappers. Like Bryson Tyson. What's his name? Bryson Gray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got a large amount. These are people, we call them the trendsetters, right? These are the ones that are changing trends. These are the people that are changing, public, what do you call it? When you
perception.
Exactly. Public perception. You know what I mean? But yeah, to that matter, man, I run into a lot of people as well. And we do run into, black or African American people that are straight up just switching and say, nope, we're voting Trump this year, man.
Yeah, and the fact that the guy was even comfortable talking about it, because this lounge, it's like it's set up where you're in these leather, couches,
right?
And everybody's pretty close, so it's kind of cool because it's a good place to go and you meet people. You go by yourself, man, and you make friends. They're real easy, right? And so you can overhear all the conversations. You can hear what everybody's saying around you. So the fact that the guy's even comfortable having that conversation is crazy, because you're just like, that wouldn't have happened 3 years ago, right? So yeah, let's get into so yeah, we're gonna go back, man. So a lot of crazy stuff going on with it seems like this week, the last few days, the COVID days and a lot of these mandates, and it's in the news, right? Because we're coming back now, and yeah, I wanted to play this little clip here. It's this I don't know if this guy's what's his name? What's the guy's name there, Alfred?
His name is Dr. Wenstrup.
Okay, I don't know if he's a Republican. Well, he's supposed to be a lawyer.
He's a chairman.
Yeah,
he's a chairman, and the title of the video, it is a GOP lawyer.
Yeah, it's a GOP lawyer. So I just wanted to play this a little bit because I was listening to this, and this is Fauci was out at Capitol Hill having to testify to the whole COVID mandates and being questioned by the left and the right, and it's frustrating to hear some of these Republicans that they don't ask the right questions, treating him like with soft gloves, but the
low T, that's what I call it, the low T Republicans, bro.
Yeah, man. So
I mean, the only person that I can give it to is Marjorie Taylor Greene, man.
Yeah, man, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we'll play a video for her. But I wanted to play this one first, and I wanted to kind of comment on some of the things here on this conversation.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The public health policies enacted during the pandemic. Dr. Francis Collins, the former NIH director, recently said in an interview, and I'm quoting, "You attach an infinite value to stopping the disease and saving a life. You attach a zero value to whether this actually totally disrupts people's lives, ruins the economy, and has kept many kids out of school in a way that they never quite recovered." Understanding the COVID task force had a lot of voices at the table, is that an accurate description of the public health advisors? And then you could fit in other advisors along the way?
Mitch, what I believe that Dr. Collins was saying was that we give advice based on pure public health issues. It's very, very clear now, retrospectively, looking at the potential collateral negative effects of things like mandating. It would be important for us now, since the purpose of, I believe, why we're here, is to how we can do better next time, is to consider the balance. I think things that we did in the beginning were in the context of horrible situation of 4,000 to 5,000 deaths per day. But that doesn't mean that you don't go back and look and say, did everything we do at that point and the duration for which we did it, was that appropriate, and do we need to re-examine? I believe that's what Dr. Collins was referring to, and I agree with him on that.
And you got to my next question, that we are here trying to figure out how to do better next time, lose fewer lives next time. Would that be a better thought process going forward of thinking about the possible unintended consequences of public health measures?
Absolutely.
All right, that's it. Stop it right there. And see, this conversation, I wanted to play this, guys, because this piece of part of the conversation really, it makes my blood boil. Okay, if you're somebody that bought into the mandates, how do you not listen to this and listen carefully to what was asked and what was said here? Right, essentially, going to paraphrase here is, hey, Fauci's being asked, looking back at it, right, was a lot of harm caused by all these mandates that were put out, the social distancing, the school shutdowns, business shutdowns. I mean, all of it, right? Wearing masks, all of those things, right? They refer to them as unintended consequences, which that phrase, when it's you, it makes my blood boil. It pisses me off because I've talked about this before. A lot of people think these people are like smarter than us or something, because how many, those of us that were not listening, that don't listen to the corporate media and actually look at alternative news and actually were listening to the experts that were disagreeing and actually saying from the beginning, right? From the beginning, you had experts coming out, the ones that were getting canceled, the ones that weren't being allowed to be on CNN, the ones whose licenses and doctors that were being threatened, right? To take their licenses being taken away, their channels being shut down, right? All of those people at the time were saying these mandates are tyrannical. They're going to lead to a lot of people suicide issues. Our kids not being in the classroom. It's going to become an issue for our education. They're going to get behind. They've all been turned out to be right. And Fauci, so for these guys to go back and say, we can learn in retrospect now and look back and say, we probably should consider some of the effects this would have had. In other words, they obviously didn't consider it, right? They obviously did not consider it, and they were wrong. And this is the thing, that you're never going to get these guys come back and say, Fauci specifically say, I was wrong, right? And why are we pretending like there wasn't experts out there that were disagreeing with every decision Fauci was making? Him and everybody else that was involved in making these decisions on closing down stores and six foot distancing and all the stupid, ridiculous things that we had to go through. Gosh, right? People's lives have been ruined. It's the things that don't get tracked.
The reason why I'm laughing, bro, is because when you look at this video, and even that, when you look at another video, you're actually looking at, and they're asking specific questions like, hey, who came up with the 6 feet distancing? Who really came up with it? Did you guys, what kind of studies did you use?
Yeah. In
his own words, the guy says, I don't know, it's just there. There's no, there is no, you force the whole population, right? You force stores to invest millions of dollars on freaking arrows, on this and that, cleaning
signs and hand sanitizers. And, oh my God,
not only if you got a COVID, a positive,
putting plexiglasses up.
Exactly. Millions.
I'm starting to remember everything, Alfred. I'm going to get crazy. Sorry, bro.
Well, the thing is, that's one of the things that we got to remind.
We can't forget, people. We can't forget this. We're already forgetting. Sorry, Alfred, but we're already forgetting.
Exactly. But this is what the people do. This is the population. Look, listen. You don't want to talk about it. You want to avoid it. It was a dark era, right? This is what they tell you. But listen, at the end of the day, how many people were freaking singled out? Didn't you hear Chris Cuomo speaking in the top of lungs? This is the unvaccinated. This is their fault. You know, this is them. Didn't you hear President, Sleepy Joe coming out? My patients are wearing thin. Do you guys remember that? Come on now. Like, if we're talking about this, and now you're asking, somebody's asking questions, right? And to me, and I'm with you, these are low T questions, right? Because, for next time.
Yeah,
like,
for next time. Yeah,
like
how about we hold them accountable? Why are we? See, and this is the thing, right? We're being gaslighted. This is what they want. This, when you listen to that clip, Fauci's like, well, isn't that what we're here for? So that we can learn from the past. I mean, those aren't his words, but he's saying learn from our mistakes is really what he's saying. We're retrospectively now evaluating how we handled this, right? How we handled the whole thing, and let's learn from this. So if it happens again, we can actually take all of these other things in consideration, right? You mean the things that we were already taking in consideration? Those of us that didn't agree with it, we had already considered these things, right? We had already considered the fact that is it a good idea to mandate medical workers to get vaccinated, right? To have a job. Is that a good idea?
And if not, fire them.
Yeah. How many people's lives were ruined? Guys, this is like a 9/11, man. We're already forgetting 9/11, right? We have all these crazy kids out there forgetting, what happened in 9/11, which, I mean, I understand we were lied to at the same time, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is that they want to gaslight us as if, they're the experts. Guys, at your job, if you went to your job, I don't know what kind of positions you hold in your job, but we all have responsibilities, whether you're a business owner, right? Whether you're an employee, you have responsibilities and you make decisions, right? Mm-hmm. And you are accountable for your decisions. And so Fauci here, they don't want to take accountability, and they want to make this about, well, let's learn from our mistakes. Well, who made the mistakes? This wasn't rocket science. You had people telling you were wrong, and they were right and you were wrong, and we know that now for a fact that he was wrong. That they were not necessary. These mandates were not necessary. That it caused a lot of harm. And why is he not being held accountable? How am I smarter than Fauci? I'm not a doctor, okay? But I myself, my little Mexican Latino guy out here in California with no college degree, had enough common sense to say, no, I'm not taking a vaccine. No, all this stuff looks crazy. None of this makes sense. Why is that guy in a motorcycle with the helmet on wearing a mask, right? Why is it okay for,
for you to drive with the mask by yourself in your car? It makes no sense.
Yeah, guys, look, like story time again, okay? So these are the things that we will never see in a poll, okay? Mm-hmm. Think of this, okay? During that time, if you had a family member that was in the hospital, you weren't allowed to be in the hospital with that family member, okay? That family member was by himself.
Right.
Okay, and I hope I didn't already talk about this, and if I did, forgive me. I don't know if I brought this up at another podcast, but this is the one thing that really upsets me, because my brother-in-law was a respiratory therapist who's a leftist, and I think I've mentioned, he's not a leftist, but he's a liberal, and I don't know if he's still listening to this podcast, but I know he was, at least for the first few. So he can comment and tell me if I'm lying, okay? But he's a respiratory therapist, okay? So he was the guy treating COVID patients, okay? Dealing with the machines and all this stuff, okay? He struggled. A lot of these people that worked in the hospital, like, they have PTSD over the things that they saw, okay? And if you have somebody in your family that works in the hospital scenario, they come home, they don't like talking about it, okay? They don't like talking about things. My daughter's in the same path right now. She doesn't like if you ask her things, they just don't want to talk about it. So the point being here is, think about how many times we've all had somebody in the hospital where a family member has had to be there with them, to just be there with them, right? they had surgery, for example, could be something minor, but typically somebody's there to be an advocate for that family member, right? I mean, I'm sure you've had this happen, Alfred, right? Where maybe your mom or a cousin or your daughter's there, and you're there because the nurses aren't there 24/7.
That's right.
They want water. They're hungry. Maybe they want a snack. How many times have you hit that little button to get the nurse, and it's like 30 minutes or an hour later, and now you're walking around like, hey, she needs to use the bathroom, or do you have a Tylenol? Whatever the case may be, you're there to be an advocate. Well, guess what? During COVID, there was nobody. That person was on their own. And on top of that, that staff was so busy dealing with so many patients that imagine how much worse it was. And I can tell you now, there was times where my brother-in-law would come home and tell me that there was one I remember where he did talk about how a man died, and he was very confident that that man died because he was starved to death because he hadn't been fed.
Wow.
Okay? And so that guy was probably counted as a COVID death.
Of course.
Okay? So some of these numbers, when you think about it, how many people died? And it's common sense, guys. Think about this. There's people that literally died not because of COVID, because there was nobody there to make sure they were getting what they needed when they needed it. Think about how many people probably even just needed their diaper changed. Mm-hmm. And the nurse was too busy, or he hit that button and there's nobody there making sure that these respiratory therapists, for example, my brother would tell me how they require 3 breathing treatments or 3 treatments of some kind, and they can maybe get 1 in a day.
Wow.
Okay? Because they were short staffed and they had a lot of patients, right? Again, that family member wasn't there. There was no family there with that patient to be like, hey, my family member has not gotten his treatment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So people think about the point being here is who's being held accountable for this? To me, it's not enough.
No, bro. And if I ask you right now, Fauci, I mean, he is upset to come into these what do you call them? Sessions? What do you call them?
The hearings. It's just hearings. Yeah.
He's upset that he's coming into these hearings, right? And he's already retired, bro. He in his mind is already like, bro, he's already making a very decent amount of money out of his pensions. Yeah. He does not.
He was the highest paid federal worker. The highest paid. Right? And sorry, Alfred. Because you just reminded me about something else.
I mean, that's why I'm
He was the highest paid federal worker. And in the hearing, he starts crying, right? Because he gives this whole sob story about how, they're coming after him and
oh my God,
they get threatened. And it's not cool. You know what? Honestly, this man is so evil that I'm reluctant to say it's not okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm reluctant to say because you just look at like who's going to hold this man accountable for the evil that he did. He did evil, guys. People died because of this man. And to me, it's not oversight. To me, it's not unintended consequences. Okay. Starting to say, we all have responsibilities at our job. When you make a decision at your business, or if you're a manager, supervisor, or even just in your role, if we all make decisions, we are accountable for our decisions.
That's right.
Right? And we don't get this unintended consequence talk. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If I make a decision for my business or the company that I work for that causes us to lose a customer, for example, or causes us to lose significant amount of cash,
right?
There isn't this conversation about, oh, let's look back and learn from our mistake. No. You know what I'm saying? Or unintended consequence conversation. It don't happen like that. You're held accountable, and you don't let it happen again, right? And guys like this guy who's supposed to be an expert, the highest paid federal worker. And you know what? I don't like it when they thank him for his service. They suck out to him like, oh, thank you for what you did for us during that time. Bro, you were the highest paid federal worker. You don't need our thank you.
Exactly. You don't paid and overpaid if you ask me. I mean, it's overpaid if you ask me. I mean, the reason why, bro, I'm as upset as you are because it's a fact. What you're talking about, it's a fact, bro. While this whole thing is going on with all these hearings and all these things, this guy is upset. He's, I'm being attacked. Of course. But listen, the low T, at the end of the day, bro, the low T Republicans here are all kissing up to him. No accountability. But guess what? On the other side of the coin, you have full-blown accountability for a crime never committed,
right.
A crime, things that never happened. You know what I mean? Like, even after the statute of limitations, you know what I mean? Like, you got a full-on war machine, right?
Yep.
And they're full-on trying to, get Donald Trump for 34 convictions, right? Making up things to create things, making a law to create another law. And at the same time, not telling you what law he broke.
Yeah.
And while this guy right here is getting all fess up, kiss up, crying, oh my. I was laughing about the video and the guy, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a guy in the back just making all these kinds of faces, while he was talking. And, dude, he deserves more than that. And I'm sorry to, I'm not gonna say I'm sorry. This guy, like you said, evil. His decisions really, really, affected a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, I would expect I'm sorry, I was wrong. But, it wasn't sorry, he wasn't wrong. It was on purpose. Okay, these guys are experts. They know what they're talking about. Okay, we all know Fauci in the beginning was saying masks don't work.
Yep.
Do you remember? Okay,
of course.
Before it hit America, he was out saying masks don't work correctly because that was the truth. And then all of a sudden, they do work. Okay, so he knew what he was doing. Okay, before, if you were out there thinking that, no, guys, they want to make you, they're trying to get us to believe that this was just a mistake. Okay, it wasn't just a mistake. This was intentional. Give these people more credit. Okay,
exactly.
And the fact that we had other people that were leaders in their fields speaking out against us, and they were being counseled and shut down, and to now hear what you just heard, where these guys are trying to make it seem like, at the time, we had all these deaths and so, we were just, basically just doing what we got to do. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, now in retrospect, we probably should have considered some of these, how some of the mandates would have, how they would impact things negatively, all the unintended consequences. No, they were intended consequences. Okay.
100%.
That's what it was. So yeah, we're going to stay on this track, guys. Cause obviously now, after this knucklehead, which, with his little softball and kind of trying to make it seem like, let's move on from holding people accountable. Let's just focus on how we can prevent this from happening again. Well, I have an idea. Let's put him in jail.
Yeah.
Put him in jail. That's how you prevent these things from happening again. So that another knucklehead like him gets an idea of trying to do the same. Maybe he'll be afraid. Right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but see, that's the thing. This is exactly how the other side works. Their democracy is completely different than what we see now. I mean, a lot of people, to laugh it out, bro, just the justice system that we have nowadays, bro, it's just so corrupt that their view of democracy and justice is completely flawed against the Constitution, brother. I mean, nobody's held accountable. That's why you have all these DAs, right? Soros appointed DAs that are just destroying each city. They're not cracking down on crime. They're not holding anybody accountable. That's why you have issues in California. They don't care, bro. Yep. They really don't care. Marxists don't care, Right. They don't care. So anyhow, hey, so let's play that Marjorie video. So we're gonna play this video, and I think it's like a 9-minute video, but we're gonna kind of probably stop and comment on this one because there's a lot for me to kind of dissect on this video. Put it up.
Face the nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes, you said you represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as you don't know what you represent. But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent, and it needs to stop. Mr. Fauci, you also represent the type of science where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science.
Pause it real
What
quick.
does dogs have to do with anything that we're talking?
So look at his response. What do dogs have to do with anything that we're talking about? So we got this little thing that we're trying today, and unfortunately, it kind of has that. What is it, like a little?
It's a little paid. Well, no, it's a Meebo Pro.
Yeah. So it kind of blocks the middle of the shot. But in case you couldn't see it, she's holding up a picture of two beagles, and they're laying like in a bed, and it looks like their head is inside some sort of box, right?
Yeah.
And so this all had come out before. So if this is news to you guys, welcome to the party. Okay, this is how evil this man is. Okay, stick with us on the podcast, guys, because we're bringing back stuff. This guy, if you don't think that's evil, I don't know what is. A man that's capable. Notice he didn't say it's not true. Okay, notice he's not saying, wait a second, that I didn't do experiments on beagles.
No.
Right?
It just says what do dogs
why do dogs have to do with it? Now, when she brought up the whole other deal where he's saying he made up the mandates, he's pushing back on that, right? But notice he's not even worried about those dogs. This is how evil this guy. This is the guy that told you to get the vaccine. This is the guy that those of you consider him to be an expert. And I'm sorry that I'm being, I don't know what the word is, but I just
blunt,
or if you're getting offended over this, but man, guys, we got to learn from our mistakes. This is the guy that's telling you that take the shot. This is the guy that told you to social distance. This is the guy that had you wearing mask. Okay.
This is a guy that walked in your neighborhood, right? And he went into black property, black neighborhoods in New York, right?
Yep.
Wasn't he walking around with the mayor?
Yeah.
Of one of the cities there.
Yep.
And he was talking to, and then one of the black men to stand up and say, "Hey, I'm not getting that." Like really just.
He let him have it. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, "I'm not having it. I'm not getting that." Blah 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 blah.
Right.
And at the end, what did he say? Oh, this is one of those Republicans. This is one of their ideologies is not going to let them. Remember?
Right. And this is how you got to handle this guy. Okay. Every single Republican should have been coming at him like this. Okay. Margie Traylor Greene is the only one putting this guy on blast. Okay. But yeah, let's hit play because there's more to watch and listen to. It's coming.
These are scientific experiments. This is what you signed off on. But you also told the American people they had to distance by 6 feet. They had to wear masks. But let's also talk a little bit further about the type of science that you represent. NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Let's talk about the fact about, is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in royalty fees?
Pause this.
Especially when the NIH...
I want you guys to understand what she's saying.
Wow.
There's government employees that are getting patent and royalties off medicines and medication. How in the heck is that happening? Did you know that, Alfred?
I didn't know that.
Okay, these are supposed to be public servants. I can't stand that public servants when we're paying them. Okay, public servants. All right, and so he's not going to tell you that it's not true. Okay, you're not going to hear him respond and say, no, that's not true. Public employees don't get royalties on patents. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it doesn't get denied. That means it's true. All right. So hit play, Alfred. Sorry, I just want to make sure nobody missed that.
And these government agencies, most powerful agencies in our country, are recommending medical suggestions and advice and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes.
Whoa. Whoa.
No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Fauci,
objection.
Objection. I reclaim my time. Mr. Raskin.
So notice, no, let it play. Let it play. Go ahead, let it play.
Mr. Chairman, of order. Just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes, because in my time, that man.
This is what they're upset about, guys. They're upset about him not being called a doctor. This is what Democrats care about.
The gentlelady should recognize the doctor as a doctor.
Low T.
Thank you.
Low T. Low T.
Is this what we have devolved into?
Look at them. They're more worried about the dumb process that's broken.
More men that were injected with syphilis, because I support you in that.
Oh.
That's horrific.
Oh, geez.
And this government that does things like that to Americans doesn't have decorum to the American people.
The gentleman is out of
Point of regular order, please.
The gentleman is out of order.
So these guys are worried about decorum. They're worried about the fact that Fauci's not being called a doctor, right? But they weren't worried about experimenting on dogs.
Representative Raskin said that's completely unacceptable to be able to deny Dr. Fauci, who's here, a respected member of the medical community, his title.
Respect. This is Democrat speaking, all right?
Yeah.
He's not respected.
And I've instructed her to address him as a doctor.
I do want to point out that they don't address Trump as president. They call him Trump.
That's right.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Words get taken down.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Second that.
Point of order.
Suspend.
All right.
A member can only move to have words. I'm sorry. The issues we are debating are important ones that members feel deeply about. And while vigorous disagreement is part of the legislative process,
Low T.
as I said at the beginning, members are reminded that we must adhere to established standards of decorum in debate. This is a reminder that it is a violation of House rules and the rules of this committee to engage in personalities
This is embarrassing right here.
regarding other members or to question the motives of a colleague. Remarks of that type are not permitted by the rules and are not in keeping
Pause this
with
real
the best
quick.
traditions of our committee.
So I wanted to stop here real quick because I don't know what you think about this. I want to have a little bit of a conversation about this. The whole decorum thing, who does that really help? Because if you listen to what he said, he's saying they're not allowed to question the motives of other party members, right? And I don't know. I think that's a problem. I think it should be okay for you to question the motives of another party member. I think it should be okay for one politician to call out another, right, and question their motives. Why is that a problem? I mean, remember, they make these rules, so it's kind of interesting to me that they make these rules that they kind of help, that protect them, right, from being exposed. Like the fact that they can't call each other a liar. Well, if you're a liar and you really are a liar, why can't I call you a liar? That's what you are. I don't know, guys. If you disagree, you let me know, comment, whatever. I think it's a problem. I'm all like, I like the whole British thing, how those guys just come at each other. Mm-hmm. I understand that, you also could have it where there's people saying false things, but we're smart people. We can tell. We're not stupid. Okay, call somebody a liar and back it up.
Well, I mean, and
facts.
To be fair, everything that Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about she's facts. She's telling you like, hey, listen, why is a public servant receiving receiving royalties on patents,
right.
on patents? You know what I mean? Like, why? And this guy over here is denying he's not even denying anything, that he's making experiments on vegals.
Right. No, he didn't say he didn't do it.
And he did not combat the 6 feet rule, right?
Right.
I mean, she's flat out say, where's the science? What did you made up these things?
Right.
Like he didn't say, no, I didn't make them up, blah, blah. tracking the science, right? Based on science. He didn't say anything.
Yeah, so just these rules of decorum, guys. I don't agree. I think that these guys should be able to call each other out. I don't think it's a problem. The only reason you wouldn't want to have that is if you don't want to be exposed. If it's not true, you'd easily be able to defend yourself. And I think that these politicians should be forced to defend themselves. Okay, and yeah. Anyways, I can go on about that, but I wanted to play that a little bit. But let's go ahead and play and finish this up.
The chair will enforce these rules of decorum at all times and urges all members to be mindful of their remarks. Does the gentleman from California have anything further?
Well, we should take her words down.
Yeah, I made it. I offered that her words be taken down, Mr. Chair.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a point of order.
Mr. Griffin,
They accused us
Mr.
of
Griffin is-
worshiping
Gentlelady
President
will-
Trump. We don't worship President Trump.
Gentlelady will suspend. Mr. Griffin, you have a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, while it may not be polite, I believe the rule only applies to members of this body, the Senate, and the President of the United States. I do not believe that it applies. The rule on taking down words does not apply to a witness. Again, I'm not condoning the words. I'm just relating or asking whether or not it applies to individuals who are just happen to be here in front of us.
I agree. The chair overrules the point of order by the gentleman from Maryland, but ask that members please afford all other members the respect they're entitled, refrain from using rhetoric that could be...
Yeah, why are they
construed
entitled
as
that
an
respect?
attack
Should be earned.
on the motives or character of another member
Yeah.
or the witness. You may proceed.
Why do you have a goon? I mean, I have a
time in history where you got.
I have a question, and not to bring this up, man. I mean, but why do you have every time you see, every time you see a particular, in this case, you have a committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have goons right next to them, just telling them what to say.
Oh, they're in the back?
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
they're like staff members?
Yeah, what the
I know.
hell?
It's crazy, right?
What the hell?
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's staffs and assistants that probably, are getting calls or text messages on something, and it's probably Nancy Pelosi or Sleepy Joe or Obama telling them, hey,
oh, man.
Hey, you need to say this or you need to say that. Oh, you need to call point of order right now. And, so who knows?
Godly.
All right, man, let's hit the play button on it so we can finish this one up.
To throw out the first pitch at the Washington Nationals baseball game.
Let's remember.
While Americans were forced to stay home and watch such events that they love from at home alone on their televisions. And what a hypocrisy this picture shows. Here you are without your mask.
Yep.
With empty seats everywhere. Remember the cardboard cutout fans? That was
Gosh,
one of the
remember that,
most
guys?
insulting things to Americans, having to watch the games from home where you got to go and enjoy the game and sit right next to people not following the 6 feet of distancing, not wearing your mask, and everyone else was forced to stay home and stop enjoying life. And your science here, your science is displayed perfectly in this picture.
Yeah.
Where children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science, your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective
Right.
in keeping out virus.
Right.
I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma.
Yep.
You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Mr. Chairman, I have another point of
I just thought that's a wrap, bro. You could end it right there. But guys, if for anybody that thinks that what she just said, where he should be prosecuted against crime, for crimes against humanity, that's no exaggeration.
She should.
That's 100%. What else do you have to do to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. What you know, like what more do you need to do?
Bro, and look at their faces, bro. At the end, look at them. They all like okay, let's move on. Like, it's kind of like, hey, hurry up, somebody say something, and right away, look, just on cue, right?
Yeah.
You got those Marxist Democrats coming right in and try to save the whole thing. Try to maneuver whatever she did.
Yeah, their little point of orders interrupting and kind of making it seem like she's... Guys, at no point did you hear anybody say what she was saying wasn't true, except for Fauci, where he's saying, you know, a couple things there. But you know, he was at the baseball game. Okay, guys, we all remember. He was there with his family. First pitch. Yep. And if this thing was that deadly, why would you be taking the chance? Remember, you know, thousands of people.
Especially at his age.
Yeah, especially, man, it's crazy. But yeah, man, so we're staying on this track because this week has been a lot of revisiting COVID, and a lot, you know, between this hearing and those of you that watch the debate with Patrick McDavid with Chris Cuomo and David Smith, man, I recommend you watch that. We're gonna play just a portion of this, okay? Because again, just like you see these guys right now gaslighting us and making it seem like they had no part, like they had nothing to do with this. Man, Chris Cuomo, I question what Patrick McDavid is doing, having this guy. The only good thing that has come out of Patrick McDavid hiring Chris Cuomo to be on his show is that if it wasn't for that, you would have not had this opportunity for David Smith to just destroy him and expose him. It was just a little satisfaction. Finally, somebody coming on. So I recommend, if you haven't watched the whole debate, but we're going to play just a glimpse here. And just to give you some context here, David Smith has just been grinding Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo will not... He brings up, if you all remember, when Joe Rogan got sick, and he talked about on his podcast that he was taking ivermectin, and Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon were mocking Joe Rogan for taking ivermectin, mocking him, saying that he's taking horse paste, right, and how ridiculous this guy is. And come find out, guess who's taking horse paste nowadays? Him. Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo's taking ivermectin now, okay? And because of that, he came out and said David Smith came out and had to call him out on his hypocrisy. And he wanted to remind all of us of all of the stuff that Chris Cuomo was saying. Chris Cuomo was one of the top-rated shows on CNN. He was the chief dog whistler out there. So many people listened to him and fell for this nonsense. So what let's play this clip so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, this is one of the highlights of many of this debate.
I know what you think I should apologize for. Obviously, there was so much talk that they don't want you to take ivermectin. Ivermectin is the way to go. Take it. Joe Rogan got better from ivermectin. And by the way, I don't like what people did to Joe Rogan about ivermectin. I don't like
You did it.
No. Okay,
yes, you did.
Find the clips.
But, dude, find the clips. You shamed Joe Rogan.
Find the clips.
You said he's taking horse dewormer. You and Don Lemon were chuckling at each other about it.
No.
I'll go find
First
the
of all,
clip.
you just saw the clips. I'm not chuckling. I'm listening to Don. But
No. The
here's
clip
point.
I'm talking about wasn't on there, and it's absolutely there.
There it is.
Here, do we have it?
The receipts.
Hold on. Let's play the clip.
Oh, man.
Injecting drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to. Oh, my God. What person? You know, you talk about, cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer. Really?
They are shaming themselves.
That's what it is.
They're shaming themselves.
So you're taking a dewormer right now.
Chris,
you can't apologize for that. You weren't being clear that it was this, and you know that, dude. You're being so dishonest right now, man.
I'm not
You
being
were
dishonest.
talking about ivermectin, the drug. You were not talking about this version of ivermectin. Come on,
I
man.
was responding to a situation where we were told that this is what people were searching out to take, and nobody knew what it was going to do to them. Look, I'm taking the drug right now. Obviously, I don't think it's all poison. I stopped calling it the horse drug and you can not like it, CNN's chief medical officer, who is Sanjay Gupta, said to me, you shouldn't just call it a horse.
So go ahead and pause it.
There's a whole legitimate aspect of the drug.
Guys, go back and watch the whole thing, man. This is just a glimpse of how bad it was for Cuomo. And when you listen to him, and it's like he's like a little child that won't confess that he's the one that ate the last piece of candy.
That's true.
You know, this is how he comes back. They literally played the clip. We all saw with your own eyes. The man will not confess and say he was wrong. None of these guys will say it, okay? And now he's trying to make it seem like, well, I wasn't. Oh, so you guys understand what his defense was for this particular issue? He's saying that he wasn't talking about ivermectin. Is that, you know, a lot of people out there on the internet were telling people to take horse dewormer. So he was just talking about the horse dewormer, right? But later on, they don't play it here. In the debate, they actually go back and play the Joe Rogan clip where Joe Rogan is talking very specifically about how he's taking ivermectin that was recommended by his doctor along with other medication, right? And Cuomo was, again, got caught in the lie because he was saying, oh, I was criticizing Joe Rogan for telling people to take horse paste. He never did that, okay? So, again, David Smith calls him out because he tells him, you know, it's not like you went on and said, just to be clear, my audience, I'm not condemning and telling you that ivermectin is wrong. What I'm saying is make sure that you're not taking the horse paste, the dewormer, okay? Don't do that. That might not be a good idea. There's people out the internet out there telling you to buy it. There's people out there that are actually going off to, you know, stores and buying horse paste and taking that. Don't do that. But ivermectin, right? Talk to your doctor. It's been around for a very long time. It has virtually no side effect. It's one of the safest drugs out there, and you're probably going to be okay, but consult with your doctor. I just want to make sure we're clear. We're talking about two different things. He never did that.
That's right.
Right?
So true. That's true. I mean, he got called in a lie. I mean, he's shameless. He said it himself. I am a shameless opportunist. You know what I mean? Like on one of his one of his previous podcasts with Pat Ben David, he said, I am a shameless opportunist. This is what he does. You know what I mean? The guy, after getting fired, what happened? He looked for the next opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And now look at him. He's one of those degenerates, bro, that are going around trying to see where he can fit in, where he can get his ratings, where he can, you know, at the end of the day, think about it. He doesn't have CNN anymore.
Right.
Right? You saw what happened to Don Lemon. You know what I mean? Like he got trampled by Elon Musk. You know, like they just pretty much said, I don't know if I'm going to hire this guy after all. You know what I mean? Yep. Like think about it. These people, that's what they're at. They're shameless opportunists. And right now he's getting called out. And good for David Smith for bringing him out and really just calling him out and flat out and bringing the receipts, bro.
Bring it, man, guys. Please share this with your friends. Share that. Find that. Share this podcast, but find that hole and share it with your friends, especially the wackiest people. Your friends that loved Cuomo and CNN. Send this to them. I don't see how they don't watch that. You know, Cuomo. The thing with Cuomo is that, yes, like you said, Alfred, you're absolutely correct. He's out there trying to reinvent himself, and he's trying to gaslight people now into thinking that, you know, I mean, you heard him say it. In this video started out by him saying, I didn't like when people were criticizing Joe Rogan for what he said. No, and David Smith said, so, it was him. He is the one that was saying, again, he was the number one rated show, and they show them the video. The guy's pretending, and the problem that Cuomo has now is that you're now hanging out and hanging out with conservatives, trying to reinvent yourself, and that's a problem because we're not stupid, and we don't forget, and we don't.
At least they're trying to. I mean, think about it. They're trying to, because at the end of the day, bro, it's like you said earlier. I don't know what Pat Ben David, saw in this guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what he saw in it. I don't know what
you know what it is, Alfred? I think Patrick Ben David, he's such a nice guy. I think he thinks Cuomo's redeemable. Okay, I think the problem with that Patrick Ben David is, I think he's like, we all kind of have a friend that you know, is like a black sheep, but you kind of think you can help the guy out.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess another example would be, you know, girls that are with guys that or guys that are with girls, right? That have a history, but you think you can fix them. I think Patrick Bet David thinks that Cuomo is redeemable. Everyone is redeemable. I 100% believe that, right?
Of course.
I think that I think Cuomo right now, the man is a liar. He's a conniving thief, liar. He's trying to reinvent himself. David Smith on his podcast after he did talk about that before that Cuomo showed up like 5 minutes before the this debate, you know, and David Smith thought, you know, hey, what I like about David Smith that he's real, right? He's like, you know, I wasn't gonna go there and be friends with the guy, okay? To me, this is he came in there thinking that you know, I finally get to, in behalf of all of us, I would include myself, confront this liar, right?
Yep.
So he felt a lot of pressure because he understood he was getting an opportunity to confront somebody that we all want to be held accountable, right?
Oh, 100%. And even, and sorry to cut you off there, because he was on fire when he did that Joe Rogan interview. He told him, like, bro, I cannot. And literally, I was paying attention to that
when
interview.
He went before,
before. What do you say? Don't say anything, right? He was like, I mean, come on, only 11 million people are paying attention to Joe Rogan, right? And he's kind of like saying, don't say anything to him, nothing about what I'm gonna say, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I capture, you know, what he says and bring the receipts. And he said that's exactly what he said he was gonna do. He was gonna go in there, he was gonna confront him. He was not gonna tell him what he was going to talk about, but because right away, if he would have, he knew, you know, Chris Cuomo would have walked away. He would have said, like, nah, I'm not going to go in there to get, you know, to pretty much get burned out. You know, he could have walked away.
Look,
and said,
give Cuomo credit, man. The problem for going, okay, I'll give him that. But I think the problem he underestimates. See, Cuomo on his show and on his CNN and all that, right? They're on a time limit. Oh, we got to cut the commercial. Oh, we got to go away. Oh, right. But no, this was 3 hours, okay, of him not being able to run. Okay, from David Smith. Okay, you couldn't dance around it.
There's no way. You got a crowd, you got an audience, bro. You got a chair, and then right next to him, you got Pat Bet David. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, David was letting him go. I ain't gonna save you, bro. Right, and he couldn't filibuster the filibuster technique. Right, didn't work because it's 3 hours. Okay. So you can't filibuster 3 hours of debating, and David Smith did a great job.
Fantastic.
But going back to what he was saying is that he showed up. So he was saying, you know, if I'm not gonna. He's like, dude, I despise this guy, right? I mean, I don't know if that's the words he was saying, but he wasn't gonna go and chum it up with the guy. You know, he was like, I was already prepared that if he was there, like, I wasn't gonna be a hypocrite, you know, and be there and be like, and I respect that because, that's the kind of the problem I have with PBD a little bit right now with this. But I think PBD is coming from a point of view where he's being naive. Yeah, and again, I think 100%. He's being redeemable. He thinks Mike Cuomo is redeemable. I think, and I think he's going to find out that he's not. And I think after this, I would think he knows that he's not. Okay, that he's not going to confess it. The guy's just a wretched liar, manipulator, conniving snake. And so he showed up 5 minutes before the and he said that he was so uncomfortable that Mike Cuomo, like, his energy was like he did not want to be there.
Wow.
You know, but I think that Cuomo's ego is so big that he as much as he probably didn't want to be there, and I think he's smart enough to know that he was going to get wrecked probably. But his ego won't let it go. I think he probably could. I think in his mind he can dance around. He figured he can dance around this debate and not look so bad. And I think his goal is to get people to think that he is a reasonable moderate at this point. Right. He wants to reinvent himself as a reasonable moderate. Okay. But it's not going to happen, guys, because we're smarter than that. And we're on to the games, and you can't filibuster your way. You can't gaslight us. We're too well informed to fall for all that crap.
100%. I think now, man, when we have people like Pat Ben David, Joe Rogan, that are just pushing all this. I mean, you got Charlie Kirks, you got the Jesse Kelly, you got the Matt Walshes, you got a full arsenal, bro. Our people now, where before, think about it, we didn't have this.
Yeah.
We didn't have the podcast. We didn't have ideas. We didn't know what was happening. We were just as in one way or another, we were kind of putting our confidence in science, right? But we didn't know. You know what I mean? But now that we know, now that we can have podcasts, we can have different opinions. I think now we're starting to see like, hey, nope, right away. I think right away, man, with the what really is helping us big time is just how Elon Musk just took over X, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter, that right there open up a great opportunities for a lot of people to really shame, these people that were there. I mean, you got propagandists that are working for Joe Biden 24/7, you know what I mean? In X, you know what I mean? But bro, every time I see it, boom, right away I go into their messages. I can see like 35 to 45 already conservatives already saying, nope, debunking, putting memes, putting up things, putting up, different links to different things in regards to the topic. You know what I mean? And we didn't have that before. We only pretty much put our confidence in NPR, MSNBC, the New York Times, and now we know where they stand.
Yep. I mean, go back, guys. I hope you guys watched the whole debate. And just remember, these were the guys that David Smith was saying something on another podcast that made sense to me. Because when you watch that debate with Cuomo, he keeps talking. He refers to like, hey, at the time we were talking to the head of the CDC. We were talking to this expert. We were talking to that expert, and they were telling us this, and they were telling us that. At the end of this clip, you kind of heard him where he talked about what was the CNN doctor?
CJ, was it CJ?
Gupta, right?
CJ Gupta.
Yeah, right. It comes up on the debate, guys. David Smith reminds Cuomo of when Gupta went on the Joe Rogan show. And if you guys go back, remember those of you that watched it when he went with Joe Rogan had just come back from being sick with COVID, and Gupta I guess wrote a book. This all comes out on the debate, okay? And David Smith brings this up, okay? Gupta, if you didn't know, was like their medical advisor at CNN. He was like their medical expert, okay?
Right.
And they send him over to the Joe Rogan show, and what ends up happening is they talk about Ivermectin, and Joe Rogan talks to him about how the doctor prescribed medication. He took Ivermectin. Gupta was like, that stuff works. And then he asked Joe Rogan if he was going to get the vaccine, right? And this is what wrecked CNN. He asked Joe Rogan if he was going to get the vaccine, and Joe Rogan responded by saying, well, why would I? I already had it. I have natural immunity. And Gupta responded by saying, yeah, you're right. Right?
Yep.
This is during the time where everyone at CNN was telling you to get vaccinated, and that if you weren't vaccinated, that this was the pandemic of the unvaccinated, right? And they were accusing us of not getting the vaccine and that we were killing people. That's right. And there they have their medical expert on Joe Rogan admitting, right? Gupta got put in a bad spot because what was he going to say? I mean, he couldn't ruin his own reputation in the medical field, right? And Joe Rogan, I think Joe Rogan's words, you guys go back and look where natural immunity is better than the vaccine. Why would I get the vaccine? And Gupta said, you're right. Okay. And that wrecked them. That wrecked the whole narrative over at CNN during that time.
Oh, 100%. And I think that video right there gets played so much. I mean, I see it, but bro, that's the thing though. I mean, you still see these things and you still watch everything that's going on, and people continue, bro. I'm still right now, bro. I've talked to people where they're still like, oh, I'm getting another booster. I'm like,
yeah,
what the heck? I'm like,
yeah, guys, we can't forget.
Oh,
go back and watch it. Another part, PBD plays this whole montage of the media just bashing on, criticizing all of us for not getting the vaccine, blaming us for the whole thing. When you go back and watch that, it reminds you of what we went through. We can't forget, and we just got to hope and pray that, Trump does get into office, and even though I've mentioned it here many times, I have no confidence that he's actually going to go in and do anything. But let's hope and pray that it does, man, that these people are held accountable. We can't let this go away. We can't let it go. This is the thing, guys. They're counting on us letting go and just moving on and being okay with hearings, them having hearings about how can we do better next time.
That's right.
Right? No, I want hearings about who are we putting in jail and for how long. Okay, those are the hearings we need, because unless that happens, there's no reason for them not to do it again. Why would they not do it again? You know, same thing with what's going on with Trump, with these judges, right? Convicting him for a crime that doesn't. What crime was he convicted for? Nobody can tell you. Okay,
they won't say. Even the judge. Even the judge created 4 different, or like 12 different opportunities where he can just, all of them lead to guilty verdicts. Think about it. And they don't even tell you exactly what he did wrong.
Right. You can say he was guilty for 3 things and you all don't have to agree, but as long as at least 4 of you agree on each one, it was something along those lines, then he's guilty of everything.
Can you imagine?
Okay.
But what kind of banana Republican do we live in, man?
Yeah, so these people we can't forget these guys. We cannot forget. We have to stay upset about it. And we got to continue to push and not accept being gaslighted, not accept acting as if people don't need to be held accountable. That's right. Because if these people aren't put in jail, they're not punished, there's no reason for it not to happen again.
100%.
Right? That's the bottom line. And yeah, guys, we'll see what happens with Trump. You know, I still, you know, the polls aren't working out, guys. You know, the theory is that, you know, obviously we see now the record-breaking amount of cash that's coming in. I think it was something like $151 million in 4 days. I think those were the numbers. You know, those polls are tangible dollars, right? And now you're even hearing very wealthy people that are very leftist saying, yeah, I think we have to go with Trump. But guys, the people, these politicians, these evil, the Faucis of the world, right? These people have a lot to lose. Okay. If Trump wins. Okay. Even though I don't believe it, they believe that Trump's going to put him in jail. So,
well, look at what they're saying now, bro. They're saying if Trump gets in office, he's going to become a dictator. Exactly, somebody that's exactly what they're doing now, right? Because where in a dictator country do you put away your opponent?
Yeah.
You know, where? He's a dictator. You know, that only happens in Russia.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the same tactics that are being put in Russia. We're seeing them here with Joe Biden.
Yeah, guys. So I don't know if you guys hear it in the background. The fireworks are going out. We got bombs coming down. I think they found us. You know, I think they found us. All right. So we probably should bail out, man. They found us our secret location here.
We're done. We're being smoked out, man.
Yeah, man. So I think that's our cue to get out. But yeah, man. Thanks if you're still listening. If you're still hanging in, man. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. Please support us. I forget to throw my IG, but it's LTN. LTN Patriot, that's Latin LTN, Larry Tom Nelson Patriot, at LTN Patriot. But yeah, man, we need to do a better job of putting a little shorts and put. I'm not in my IG a lot, but yeah, guys, we appreciate few more subscribers
49,
we got.
48, 49. Yeah. But it's gonna grow, man. We're gonna grow this thing.
Yeah, it's fun, guys. We enjoy doing it, and for the 45 of you that watch us, man, thank you, and you're worth it, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah, comment, guys. Let us know what you guys think. We've kind of evolved. When you go back, we kind of change it up. So let us know what you guys think about us. The videos. How we're kind of playing things and kind of going over it. Let us know, kind of like a reaction type format. Let us know if you guys like it. Is it boring? I don't know.
Let us know.
Yeah, is it not boring? But yeah, let us know. Comment.
All right, guys, take care. See you guys next week.